What is up, everybody? Welcome to a special edition of Fresh Take Anime. And I got with me Andre.
What's up, all you wonderful people?
All right, now, if you haven't had a chance to check out our previous review of the Castlevania Season 1 review, this kind of takes a little bit, this kind of has to do with that a little bit. On Screen Rant and on Nintendo Life, there's various websites you can go to, but Adi Shankar, the executive producer of Castlevania Season 1 for Netflix, was doing an interview in which he said there was a dream project of his that he wanted to work on would be a Metroid anime. And it got me thinking, like, what other game titles stories could work as an anime. So what I'm going to do with this one is throw out some titles and throw out what sort of subgenre they could work in, and for my thoughts, and we'll discuss it like that. So, first one up, Kid Icarus. I think this would be like shonen type action comedy.
Yes. There's no way it couldn't be. I'm sorry. There's no way that couldn't be.
Now, keep in mind, people, there were 3 anime shorts that came out. If you still have your 3DS and you're a member on My Nintendo, you can go get those 3 off of that. One was done by Studio 4 Degrees. One was done by Production IG, and the other one was done by Studio Shaft. And they were actually pretty good. One of them was like a action adventure. One was straight up comedy. The one by Shaft was straight up comedy. And Production IG did their normal CG shonen type anime offering. Now most of those was like 3 minutes. I think it was like 3 minutes, and I think the one but Shaft was in 2 parts, and that was like 4 minutes a piece, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But what I would do would basically do, like, the first season would be like the first game, the first Kid Icarus game. That way you can do like the backstory and all that between Medusa and Palutena. You can do all of that. And you probably get that knocked out in about, 13, 15 episodes?
Yeah, I think so. That'd be a fair amount of
Because it's really a straightforward story.
Yeah.
The first one is.
Yeah, it definitely is.
And the second season, if it would go there, I would do Uprising. And that would probably be it for Kid Icarus, because like Uprising, actually, if you go by it, you can probably do a episode per what happened, because the way the game is broke up kind of like an anime. It's like 24 chapters. So
yeah, well, you could split that into 2 seasons, 12 episodes each,
a piece. Yeah. Because there is a certain thing that happened. I'm not going to spoil it for anybody, but there's a certain thing that happens like halfway through it that warrants that could warrant a cliffhanger for a season or whatever. So
yeah,
I could see that happening. Now that one I think will probably be work, but I would actually like to see like a studio like 4 Degrees do it, just because I like them. I don't think Perot would probably be a good place for that one. But I think not taking anything away from Production IG, I think Production IG does great work, but I just think like they're more like, I like their movies better than I like their actual series, because most times when you get like their animated series, it doesn't look as good as good a quality as the movies that they do.
Yeah, I can see that. I
so
definitely see that. I can understand where you're coming from there.
Yeah, so I would personally like a studio like 4 Degrees or Shaft to actually do something like that.
Well, let's let 4 Degrees do the main series, and then have IG do like a quick, like 45-60 minute AMV for it.
Oh, okay.
I said AMV. That's right.
You mean OVA?
OVA. Yeah, I'm mixing my terms up.
Yeah.
Doing like an hour-long OVA for it that could fit in between, like, one for in between the first season and the second season, then one for in between the second and third season. Just as like a recap and starting point for the season following.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can see that. That actually wouldn't be a bad idea, actually. Nintendo, we just gave you points. You know, feel free to hit us up on Twitter or or this YouTube channel. Just feel free. Feel free. We do take requests. All right.
I mean, hey, look, you can also check out my channel, Game Idea Guys. Plenty of shit there for you to look at. Trust me.
Plenty. Plenty.
A couple things that just went up today. So
Yeah. Now moving right along. Now, Kid Icarus, I think probably 3 seasons would probably be max because I don't want to overstay its welcome.
Yeah, like they could pull for a 4th, but I wouldn't without additional game material to pull from.
Yeah, because like I said, the games and Uprising. If you haven't had a chance to play, I know it is Kid Icarus Uprising is kind of like divisive amongst the people who played it. I personally enjoy it.
I loved it.
I enjoy it, but I know some people had issues with the controls. Now, this is one time I did not get mad at people about the control scheme because I understand where they were coming from. If you don't have that
stand, it's a Wii game. So I mean,
yeah, and if you don't have that 3DS kickstand, it can be a pain in the behind to play that.
Can cramp your hands a little bit.
Yeah, so that one I can understand, but it is a great game, and if you are a fan of it, and they took the design straight from Smash Brothers, so it's a really good looking game. I was hoping maybe Nintendo will hook us up and like throw it on the Switch, but never mind.
I mean, it's still possible because that was one of the earlier 3DS titles.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure you can map it because basically it'll be Space Harrier and then however you want to do the ground combat. I make it just a hack and slash on the ground on the ground anyway. So, but that's neither here nor there. Second one I had on my mind, and that's because of Sakurai. I blame Sakurai for this completely. Smash Brothers.
Oh yeah, everybody wants Smash Brothers. Actually, if cards were played right, they could lead right from Kid Icarus right into Smash. Like have it so that Pit gets like Pit and Palutena and Dark Pit all get pulled into this different dimension, which leads into Smash.
You know what? That actually would make sense, especially with that trailer for Palutena that pretty much is the anime before that.
Yeah, which is like she's talking about Link's skill and ability for a quote unquote mortal who isn't actually immortal.
Yeah, that's too much to go into at this point. But yeah,
I ain't diving into that right now. But I mean, he's not just a mortal.
Yeah, and we'll leave it at that. Now, as far as Smash Bros. Is concerned, that would have to be an action comedy, like because there's no way you can't be serious with Smash Bros. I'm sorry.
You can have serious moments, but you can't be full on serious about it. No, because you would bore the hell out of people.
Yeah, and on top of that, the whole premise of the game is it's a kid pulling the toys out and playing with them. That's the whole purpose. Now, they already have a story for it. A lot of people try to pretend like they didn't like it, Subspace Emissary. Yeah. So you can actually pull off that because you got your pre-made enemies that you could actually use for the games, for the show. So
definitely.
I mean, they already got that already set up, so you just get to get as crazy as you want to with it.
There's a couple scenes they might have to cut out from the game, like Snake.
Yeah, just replace it with Cloud.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Replace him with Cloud and drop the whole box scene.
Replace him with Cloud and Bayonetta, and have Sonic show up on time this time.
Make Sonic stay late so he can show up and rescue everybody at the last minute.
So he shows up in the first episode and the last episode.
Basically, like you see him running. The first episode, you don't know where he's running to.
Shows up like he does when he fights Taboo.
Like you don't even know where he's running to. You just see him running.
That would be hilarious and wrong all at the same time.
What the hell was that? Did you see this blue thing fly by with? You just see smoke down the distance. Like, what was that?
Now, would you still have like Taboo, the overarching villain, and have it where like Gan and them have to team up?
Yeah,
with them just so they could survive it.
Yep.
All right, that would make a lot of good sense because The only thing is, I don't know how they would go about like having them do like the final fight because it would have to be Nintendo's main people, which is Mario, Link, and maybe Samus. Because I can't see them having like every 40 something characters fight.
They probably wouldn't. What they probably do is have Taboo like make replica versions of a lot of the characters and have them fighting them. So there's an explanation as to why they're not there.
Yeah, and just have like the main because I think in the game it was you could pick up to 6 people, so then just have it like the main 6 because let's be real, it's more than likely going to be Link, Mario, Princess Peach, Samus, Zelda, Bowser, and maybe Ganon.
I would take Peach out and put Ganon in.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It would be like their main people, the ones that they're known for, and that pretty much always have a game on every system. So that's how I would think that would actually go down. But I wouldn't mind seeing that in like in a form. But who would you get to do? Would you let like a company would you just let whatever company? Because I don't know who did the animated part of that.
I don't either. Because I'm like, whoever did that is who I would be like, yes, you're the prime candidate for this.
Yeah. And now, how many episodes do you think it would go?
I'm thinking about just
a Smash, just Smash, not like adding Kid Icarus in, just Smash. Like
I know, I'm trying to think of how long Subspace Emissary was itself.
About 12. Well, we're gonna take the maze out because the maze was an hour in and of itself. So I would say about 4 hours.
I think it was a little bit longer than that. I don't think it was 4. I'm thinking somewhere around 6 to 8.
Well, I said when you take the maze out.
Either way, like if it's about that, then I'm figuring. I guess you could stretch it a little bit, make it a 20 episode thing,
like 24. Like 24 episodes?
Somewhere between 20 and 24, depending on how far you stretch some of the details, some of the fights.
Yeah, because you got to have.
I would want to stretch out that Marth and
the Mars
Meta Knight fight. I would want to stretch that one out because of how fast they were swinging those blades at each other.
That was a fun fight, though.
I would just want to see that one last like at least 2 to 3 minutes. Just them. Yeah. Clashing swords back and forth, jumping off of bricks and boulders and stuff, trying to attack. that would be something for me to watch. And then the moment when Link showed up on top of Mario and thought Mario did something to Zelda.
Oh,
he showed up and he's ready to kill him. Like, I'm going right for your head. And little Mario looked up. That blade was 3 inches from his face.
I'm like, Link, you ain't supposed to kill that dude, man. Come on, dude.
Well, look, he was going for the kill though. He was not
family game.
He was not joking. He was going right for the kill. Mario didn't have those reflexes. That would have been it.
Yeah. So now I would like you said, we probably would keep Snake out of it. Sorry, Snake fans. And probably throw Cloud and Bayonetta in. I don't know if Ryu should be in it, but that's because I have a personal issue with Capcom right now. So I think that's the one main reason why I'm holding up on Ryu.
Yeah.
Mega Man. I can't do nothing with him no way, so might as well put him in.
Put Mega Man in there, let him have a brief cameo where he blow up a robot and jump off.
Basically. Now, at the end of it, would you have like the kid putting all the toys up, or would you?
At the end of the adventure, I would probably have the toys scattered about, and then like the kid who's playing with them, putting them back and organizing them neatly, like in the way that they looked in the game where they did the panning out shot where you saw everybody standing looking off.
Yeah.
That's how I would have it, and then have him have that do the same panning where just you can see all of them standing there, and then it just kind of shows the characters again standing on the cliffside looking over it.
Yeah, that would actually work. I think that will work. That would actually work. So yeah, that's a good one. All right, so the next two on the list that I thought of are actually newer games from Nintendo. But let's be honest, they work. They scream anime. Splatoon and Arms. Splatoon and Arms just scream anime, dude.
Yes, they do. Splatoon, I would think would have to be on Nickelodeon though.
Yeah,
because it just fits too well.
Yeah, there's nothing serious about that. So that is straight up comedy. That's straight up.
I mean, unless if you completely forget the backstory, there's nothing serious about it.
Yeah, I mean, even with the backstory, I mean, yeah, okay, it's an apocalypse, but the way they do it, I wouldn't mind living there. I wouldn't mind surviving that apocalypse. That apocalypse sounds fun.
Oh man.
Remember that meme that was going out a couple years back? Nintendo's the only company that make the apocalypse fun. I know you remember seeing that one. That one was hilarious with that whole little thing going on. But yeah, I would Splatoon. Yeah, that would have to be like a Disney XD or Nick Jr. or something like that. Simply because of how it is.
Well, not Nick Jr. Nick Jr. is all of the little shows.
Little stuff. Okay. Well, regular Nick. What is it now then?
Do you want Nickelodeon or Disney XD? One of those two.
Yeah, okay. Well, Disney XD. Yeah, because that's the one I know is the, for animated stuff is on that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Now, the studio to do Splatoon. I would want to see. This is gonna sound crazy, but I wouldn't mind seeing what Madhouse could do with it.
That's an interesting proposition.
Because Madhouse does like a lot of their animes have like weird like shapes and stuff like that when they doing them. So I could just see them from a visual standpoint making the turf war stuff look crazy.
I kind of agree with you there. And then in between the turf war stuff have bits and pieces of the main story.
Yeah, the little Captain
DJ Octavio.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, but that DJ has to show up because he has to be the main villain of season 1.
Like hell, the first 2 to 3 episodes could just be the squids having fun, and they have their turf war going on. And then you got DJ Octavio show up and swipe all the glowfish.
Yeah, which I still find it funny that they made a DJ a bad guy.
Hey, it's been done before.
It hilarious.
It's been done before.
I know, but not like this. I was actually jamming while I was fighting them. but it had the spins going on. Grandmaster Flash, you might have some competition. All right. Now, Arms is the one that just came out last month, and
yeah,
that one. Come on, man. I was sitting there like, okay, so when the anime start? Because apparently the way this world works, not everybody can do this. So it's a special kind of person that's able to.
Not everybody can do it, but you got a little girl who found a way to make a robot that can do it.
Yeah.
You got this actress / singer who's using her hair.
Yeah.
So I'm like, whoo, where did that come from?
Who's thick as a mother? But that being said,
I would put that on Adult Swim
for purely educational purposes. But yeah, that one honestly, that one pretty much screams anime. The only thing is, I don't know, because in the game it doesn't have even though it's a fighting game, it doesn't have like a story mode. It just has like the ladder match like normal fighting games used to have back in the early 90s. They don't really have a story for this, which I think is not a down point to it, but I just would have liked to see something ridiculous, some kind of ridiculous story, a la how Splatoon had theirs. Their one player story mode, which was actually hilarious. I was expecting something like that from Arms, and just didn't get it. But I think it could work, and that's another one I would think Madhouse would thrive in.
I think they would gladly take that because of how weird the characters are.
Yeah, I mean, it writes itself. Honestly.
Yep. Then you have to have Springman and who's the dude that just got released in the update?
Max Brass.
Yeah, they got to be related somehow. They do the exact same thing. One does it better, but they do the same thing.
So yeah, because Max Brass is the champion.
Yeah.
and Springman is the Goku of the series.
He's the up and comer.
Yeah, yeah. Because he has this thing like his special ability is basically when you get him like 25% or below, he stays in a hyper state.
Yep.
So, I actually like it. I think that would be one of the ones that could be crazy. Now, I don't know if it's one of those ones that could be like, a 26 episode one. I think that would be better taking it short in small bursts, like 13 episodes. Like them 13 episodes. See that be done. Yeah, because it's one thing to have like a 26, but I don't think the story will be like prolific enough. I guess you could say.
No, unless they just want to spend a lot of time showing off some amazing fights.
Yeah,
they could definitely do.
Yeah, they could probably pull that off, but I would like in this situation probably less would be more. Same thing with Splatoon. I do like 13 episode seasons. I probably wouldn't do like a full 26 or 24 or whatever.
No, it doesn't have to be that long.
All right, now here are the next two I'm gonna bring up. I think will probably work better as movies as opposed to actual series, and that's just because the one of them, I think the anime house I would like to do it. They do better movies, and that's Metroid. Now, Metroid, I know a lot of people have like a different idea about Metroid, but I think like. I wouldn't mind a series on Metroid if like the series was like just chronicling her origin, because the origin outside of the manga that was made for it, you don't really get into the origin that much. They usually like they touch on it in the games, but they don't really go.
They don't really go too deep with it now.
Yeah, now the manga did, because there was a manga that was done back in 2001 in Japan. And it was fan translated over here for this. That you could probably find it online, and they did a very good job of explaining her origin and how her PTSD affects her and all of that. Because a lot of people think her PTSD makes her freeze up. It really don't.
No, she turns into berserk.
Yeah, she goes on like a murderous rampage. Like when she sees, like the only time she froze was when she saw Ridley the first time. And after that, she froze for all of like 3 panels, and then she went bloodshot, went berserk. She went crazy to the point where she almost got herself killed. So those little things like that. Now the Metroid one is the one that Adi Shankar said he wanted to do. I like his work, but I think like he tried to put his stamp on it. And his stamp is to be overly gritty, overly dark, and I don't think Metroid needs to be overly dark because
there's a couple places
to it already.
There's a couple places where he could allow the grittiness to really be shown, but for the most part, since Samus is by herself a lot, I wouldn't expect to see a whole lot of bloodshed happening and her like smashing and breaking things.
I mean, the most time when that's gonna happen is when she runs into some space pirates or she's about to blow up a planet.
Say that so casually, like she's about to blow up a planet.
I mean, let's be real, man. This woman lands on something, it don't survive.
Nothing survives.
I mean, at this point, she's a walking natural disaster. If she lands on your planet, leave.
Get out as fast as possible.
Yeah. And she might be landing just to get gas. No, leave.
I see. Okay, that's an orange suit. Red helmet. All right, we out.
Yep. Yeah.
Pack your things. Pack a couple things that you can take with you real quick, because everything else is gonna get vaporized.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
So now this will be because this game was actually inspired from Alien. It's gonna have to work in the action sci-fi. Not too much room for adventure or comedy because just how the games are set up. So I was thinking, and I know you probably heard on podcasts I've done before, The team that did Appleseed Ex Machina, I think they would be great for doing a Metroid movie. Like I said, series, I don't know, just because of how a series is set up and how these games are set up. Like we said, it's a lot of isolation, it's a lot of by herself, and a lot of people got mad about the constant inner monologue of Other M. Which is, if you do that, that's what you're gonna have to get, because you can't just sit up there and like have her walking for 10 minutes of an anime episode and not saying nothing.
Yeah, this is not gonna work.
So you're either gonna have to have her with a team of people, or you need to do it in a movie type setting, so you can still have those moments of isolation. And would you say semi horror?
Yeah, I guess you would. It would some way fit in the horror genre because of what she faces off against and the different aliens that pop up on her.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, that's what I would do. Now, if it was a straight up, let's say, hand drawn anime, who would you go with? Gonzo?
Hold on, rephrase that because I didn't quite catch that one.
Like, who would you go with if it's straight up hand drawn? Like, they don't do any like cell shade CG hybrid. Who would you go with for the company that you would think would do a better job on doing a Metroid series? I would say.
You know what? I think we'll go with Gonzo.
Because they do have more.
I think that would make the most sense.
Like this. At the very least, I know they have a lot more experience doing like animes that are kind of like that. So either Madhouse or Gonzo would probably pull it off. I would say Production IG, but it's one of those things where I prefer Production IG movies as opposed to their series, just because from a quality standpoint, some of their series that they do, it feels like a dip in quality, whereas when they do a movie, the quality is impeccable. So I could see like some people like saying, what about Production IG? I feel you, but not for a series.
Nah.
And now we're coming to the big one. Now, this is the one that most people like. This should be live action.
No. Well, I mean, you feel it has to be done a very specific way.
Yeah. Now, here's the reason why I don't want this to be live action at this point in time. Because too many people have been saying Game of Thrones. No.
No.
Legend of Zelda is more like the Lord of the Rings.
Far more like Lord of the Rings.
It's not a character-driven narrative. It's a story-driven narrative. Game of Thrones is character-driven. You spend a lot of time with the characters. Legend of Zelda, you spend a lot of time in the actual land of Hyrule, the story, and it drives from there.
I'm sorry, I don't want to sit in unless they going to really delve deep into what separated the Gerudo and the Sheikah from the Hylian family. I don't want to deal with Hyrule politics too much.
Yeah, I don't think anybody would. It'd get hella boring. Let's be real. The reason why Game of Thrones makes it because of all that shock value they throw in there.
Yeah, with the people dying at random every episode.
Yeah, when they need to clean cap room from salary room, and they have to take out like 8 people. So I mean that's the reason why Game of Thrones, honestly, in my opinion, like it makes. I'm not saying the story is bad, because to me it's not. It's a good story, but I think the reason why it got so popular is because of that shock value. You didn't know what was going to happen from episode to episode. You didn't know who was going to die. You didn't know who was going to get caught banging who, and that's why like it got to that level of popularity. Legend of Zelda ain't gonna do all that.
Nah.
So that's one of those situations where I know like people like it should be live action. Yeah, if you're gonna go the Lord of the Rings route, yeah. But me personally, and I don't know how you feel about this, Andre, but personally, I think it should be animated.
I would prefer animated myself.
Yeah, and the reason why is because you get to do a lot of the stuff. You could do the exaggerated fight, because the fight with Ganondorf and the Beast Ganon has to be exaggerated, and it wouldn't look right if it was in real life.
Live action is going to feel like that Street Fighter 2 Ken up Dragon Punch that never left the ground.
Yeah.
In comparison to anime, where you can actually see the whole move happen and the character actually take off and do some real damage to somebody like T-Hawk. That's the comparison.
You know what? That's a great comparison because Link. Now, depending on what game you use, on me personally, the seasons would be tied to a game.
Yeah,
in my opinion, like, Skyward Sword would be season 1 because that's the game that kicks off the timeline.
Mm-hmm.
This has been before people get mad. This has been, set in stone. So don't get mad at me. And then I'll probably go Ocarina of Time, and that would probably be 2 seasons just because of the adult and the child storylines.
Yep.
And then go Twilight Princess, or no, go Wind Waker, then Twilight Princess, then Breath of the Wild.
That's where you're breaking off to separate continuities anyway.
Yeah. Well, if you don't have to do Wind Waker. You could do Twilight Princess and then Breath of the Wild, because in Breath of the Wild they pretty much say it's Skyward, Ocarina, Twilight, and then their game. So that's the line that goes from Breath of the Wild. It is stated in that first captured memory that you have for Zelda and Link. So you can do it that way if you so choose. Now the rest of the games, I like Wind Waker, and I like Phantom of Hourglass and Spirit Tracks, but I don't know. I can see them having, if it gets like ultra super popular, that way you have like some more seasons to go that you could like throw some stuff together. There's a couple of those games like Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons. Those would be like really short.
Oracle of Ages and Seasons would have to kind of happen together.
Yeah, so I mean, because if not, they'd be 4 episodes a piece.
Yeah.
I mean, because they're basically straight to the point. They're not like ecstatically long games. Now, the Philips CDI games will never be mentioned. So
they'd burn those things where they sit.
Yeah, so that won't even get talked about being put in. Now, the last one that I have is the one that actually got an anime made for it last year on a game that most people hated, but some of us actually enjoyed because we actually took the time to learn how to use the controls, and that is Star Fox.
I knew what you were saying. I knew exactly.
One of the people that complained about the controls, I'm talking about you. So,
I mean, who did that brief anime that Nintendo posted last year?
That was UF Table.
Hey, bring them back.
And Production IG. That was both of them.
Bring them back to do a whole season.
Yeah,
and that little precursor could be part of episode 1, because I wouldn't want that to be the whole of episode 1. But
yeah. Now the reason why I liked how they did it, because those dog fights looked awesome. So I was actually waiting for episode 2, and we never got it.
Oh, man, I'm so disappointed in y'all, Nintendo. Why is there not more of this?
Yeah, because I'm like, dude. Yeah, I mean, if y'all was using that as like a tester to see if people gonna like it, look at your YouTube page. People like that. People go back and watch it. That was 15 minutes of awesomeness.
Yeah, it was.
So if you give me more space battles like that, dude, I'm all in for a nice little 13 episode season of that. And you could probably come up. Now that is probably one you could probably come up without having too many game stories to go off of, because you can actually, it's space, so you can
you can basically make up most of it along the way. As long as you stick to the main key points of the lore, you can make up a lot of it.
Yeah. And if you want to, you can go on and do Adventures on Dinosaur Planet, because I enjoyed that game. So
I mean, look, people have been wanting Crystal to come back.
Yeah, that's true. Perfect.
But as much as everybody hates that game, they love that character. So I mean, you gotta have that game.
I don't understand. To this day, I don't understand. I'm like, they hate the game, but they want. I'm like, I don't get it. But you know what? Whatever.
It's like the same situation with Dragon Ball GT. Everybody hates the series, but they love Super Saiyan 4.
Yeah, well, and I accept me. I hated Super Saiyan 4, but yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. Super Saiyan 4 just didn't make no sense to me. But I don't understand how a baby can turn into a grown ass man.
Depending on how they go with how they went with the lore, like how it was described, Super Saiyan 4 makes some sense, but it shouldn't be called Super Saiyan 4.
No, I mean, first of all, it shouldn't exist because of the simple fact that one, a baby shouldn't transform into a grown man.
That's the power of the transformation overriding the magic that makes Goku a kid.
But that being neither here nor there. But yeah, I feel you on that. I feel you on that. Is there any other ones you could possibly think of? I was thinking about Xenoblade, but then I thought about it. I'm like, yeah, I don't think so.
Ooh, that's a long story there.
Yeah, because like that would be. How would you do it? Would you just do a movie? Would you just do a movie series for that?
I think you could. With Xenoblade, you could do a short movie series. You could not do a TV unless you wanted like an Inuyasha or even One Piece level type.
Yeah, because I mean that can go on forever.
Like Inuyasha is the lower end of that, and One Piece I think is the extreme end.
One Piece and Hajime no Ippo.
Yeah, because that's just like, ooh, man, so many episodes.
I like the Xenoblade series, but I'm like, bro, no.
That's a lifetime of watching.
Yeah. Now I will say this: I remember a few years back. I want to say like 2005 or 6 when they did the Xenogears one. It was like 12 episodes, but it was a summer anime because they had Cosmos in it and all that. That one was pretty good, but it was only based off like 2 or 1 game. So, I mean, that would work. But like the way Xenoblade is set up, it's kind of like, okay, these are long games. These ain't no little short games.
These games are investment in your life.
Yeah, I mean, I was at 160 something hours in Xenoblade Chronicles X, and I wasn't even close to the end. So, yeah, I mean, and the game supposedly had opened up after you beat it.
Yeah, so, more stuff you can do.
Yeah, it got even worse after that. And I'm like, oh, hell no, the devil is a lie. So, you know, I mean, that was one that I thought about. I was like, you know what? It could work, but that would have to be movies.
If they were going to do Xenoblade, they'd have to skip over all the side quest stuff unless it's something super significant.
Yeah, because there are a couple of side quests in there. There are a few side quests in the Xenoblade games that are actually significant, which is amazing. Because on Xenoblade Chronicles, the one on the Wii, they had like, I know it was like 10 of them that I did that was actually went with the story. But I'm like, why are these side quests?
Yeah.
So it's one of those situations. Other than that, I know somebody's probably saying, why you didn't say Mario Brothers or Donkey Kong? Well, because they kind of did those in the past. NBC back in the late 80s, early 90s used to have a lot of cartoons, and they actually had Super Mario Brothers from 1 to World.
It was 1 and 2 were basically combined into 1, and then 3 had its own, and then World had a brief skirmish itself.
I think 3 was everybody's favorite though, because
3 was the best one out the group. Yeah.
World was okay, but by that time, like
it was played out by
dying in the U.S. Yeah. Saturday morning cartoons was dying in the U.S. by the time that came out. So I think NBC was like the first one to get rid of theirs.
Yeah.
And then it was CBS and ABC, and then Fox. They held on till like '98 because I think once X-Men went out the air, they was like, yeah, we done.
Yeah, there were a couple other ones that held on a little bit longer, but yeah, they still didn't go very far.
Yeah. So Mario Brothers, I mean, it could work.
If they were going to do it, I would want them to do the very first story, like when Mario and Luigi first got into the Mushroom Kingdom.
Yeah, by complete accident if you go by the story,
Yeah, like they're just doing their jobs one day, then they somehow find themselves and flush down the toilet into the Mushroom Kingdom.
which is hilarious by all means because they were in Brooklyn.
This toilet had one magical use, and that
Yeah,
was to flush Mario and Luigi down it.
and they were in an apartment in Brooklyn supposedly. So hey, whatever.
Magical toilets in Brooklyn.
It had to be. So that one I could see. Donkey Kong, we kind of had one.
Mm. Which ones? Oh yeah, that they had the little 3D
Yeah.
show.
It was
No,
on
I
Fox.
think,
It was on
no,
Fox
I
afternoon.
think Donkey Kong deserves a redo.
Yeah, because that one was kind of weird.
That show was just it was all over the place and too many
I
weird
mean,
things.
a couple episodes would be good, but then the rest of them would. Then the next like 4 or 5 would make no sense.
So I'm like, nah, they need to do my eighth buddy. They need to redo him.
Yeah.
Make
So
him, do him better.
yeah. So like they've done this a couple times. Like Nintendo had done this before. So I'm wondering if because everybody remembers that Legend of Zelda 15 minutes show they used to come on. Excuse me, princess. Yeah, that one. Yeah. Don't ever do that again, Nintendo. But if you want to do one, let's update it a little bit. Let's update it a little bit. But yeah, I think that they have a lot of titles that they could actually use. I know there's a lot that we probably haven't even named. I know some people's like, what about F-Zero? I don't really care
They did
about
F-Zero
racing stuff.
already. F-Zero's anime was actually pretty good. GP Legend, that wasn't bad.
Yeah, it wasn't okay. I never seen that one.
I'm not going to spoil the end of it for you, but you might want to check it out. It's
Okay.
not bad.
But yeah, F-Zero okay. I mean, I'm not really into races that much. I did love Initial D but that's just me. Mario Kart, no.
No, Mario Kart.
No, just leave that as a game.
Anything like Mario Kart, Mario Party, leave that stuff aside.
Yeah,
Smash is an exception because Smash is like a broadening tool.
Yeah.
It's a branding tool that can be broadly used.
Yeah.
Mario Kart and Party and tennis and all that stuff. That stuff needs to just stay games.
Now, I will say this: if they want to throw like Nintendo Land in something, I'd probably be down for it.
If they were going to do Nintendo Land, that would. Ooh.
Uh-huh.
Who are going to be the Mii's though?
Well, at this point, you're probably gonna have to have like Bill, Reggie, Koizumi, Kimishima. They all gonna have to have them Mii's in there.
Let's take random Nintendo employees and
random Nintendo employees.
Or make the anime about surpassing all the trials in Nintendo Land is how you get a job at Nintendo.
Basically, that would be hilarious.
Oh man,
that would be hilarious. But yeah, I think
make Nintendo like Willy Wonka.
That would be funny, and I would pay to watch that.
I would watch that
because there's gonna be some trolling stuff going on there, so I would pay to watch that. So yeah, but that's what this episode was about. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let us know in the comments if you have any ones that you think could be turned into an anime or that you wouldn't mind seeing as an anime. And Andre, you got anything you want to pimp out?
I don't, depending on when this video is going to be going up, but I will have a Telltale Games Nintendo crossover video on my channel very soon. So
interesting. All right. All right, that's interesting.
I think that'll be interesting.
Cool. And I'm going to be doing a first impressions vid of Implosion. It's a budget title from that's available on Switch and on Android and iOS. It's actually not a bad hack and slasher. Actually,
it's a really good game. Like I've been playing it on my phone because I don't have my Switch yet, but it's good.
It's actually not bad. So you could catch the first couple missions on my channel. I did game cap those, so you can catch those, and I plan on having that first impressions vid up hopefully sometime in the near future. But other than that, we will see you guys on our next anime edition, Fresh Take, and we'll holler at you then. Peace.
Peace out, everybody. Have a good night.